This guide will be for beginners who are trying to put on weight as a hard gainer, struggling to put on that weight. You might be on the skinny side, or you are on the skinny side and you try to eat more food. Like people say, eat more food. This is not going to be a generic eat more food type of advice. I'm going to give you guys practical advice which I've used personally to put on weight. So why should you listen to me? Let's just go over to the slide over here. So as you guys can see, this was me at age 15 years old, right? So I used to weigh 43 kilos here, very skinny. Like generally I was underweight. So fast forward about 6 years, the point on which I weighed the most was when I was 21 years old. Should it take you 6 years? No. If I knew everything I know right now, it should have taken me maximum a year to 2 years. So everything I'm going to give you guys today will be advice which will help you cut the time it took me to go from this to this. So the weight difference is 17 kilos, and in pounds that is roughly 37 pounds, I believe. I could be slightly off on that one. So I put on a lot more mass here, a lot more muscle, and I did gain a bit of fat. So this was like the most I've weighed, is the most I've been bulked to. Currently I'm weighing 56 kg because I have leaned out from this stage, and right now I'm very lean. I've just got a lot of just muscle mass left over. I'm going on a bulk again, and I'm documenting that process on my channel, so if you guys want to tap in on that, you can check that out in my other videos. So enough of that, let's get into the video, shall we? So first and foremost, I'm covering the basics so you understand what I'm talking about when I'm using these terms and you don't feel lost. So first thing you need to understand is, what is calories? So calories is basically the amount of energy that you are going to get for the food that you eat. Every food label will contain kcal and kj. Honestly, the only one we care about is kcal, but if you guys did want to know what this is, it's basically just the smaller metric of measurement for the kilocalorie. So a calorie is simply just the energy you're getting for the food that you eat. So for example, a Snickers bar, just because it's the top one on my head, is about 200 calories roughly. Okay, so on to the next slide. So because we are a hard gainer and you're trying to put on weight, we need to eat in what's known as a calorie surplus. The opposite of this is known as a deficit, but we don't need to worry about this one because we are trying to put on weight. So let me just quickly get rid of all these scribbles. So as I was saying, if you eat in a 500 calorie surplus, you can expect to put on about 0.5 kilogram or about 1.1 pound of weight per week. And if you're in a 1000 calorie surplus, you can expect double, which is basically 1 kilogram or 2.2 pound of weight per week. And the distribution of this in terms of, so it'll be distributed in 3 ways. It'll be fat, water weight, and muscle mass. Most of it, no matter how you do it, unless you're doing like a lean bulk, but we're not going to talk about lean bulk in this video because this is for hard gainers. So it'll be distributed amongst fat, water, and muscle. So on this side here, if you are a beginner, you can expect to put on anywhere between 0.5 to a pound of muscle per week. Because you're a beginner and your body hasn't created muscle, you have much more ease creating that muscle mass. So your beginning is when you make the most amount of gains. When you become an intermediate, that essentially halves. And then if you've been doing it for like a good, let's say like anywhere over 3 years, and you've been training optimally and eating optimally, it's like it really reduces to like 0.1 pound. But onto this side here. So this is the distribution that you can expect if you are a beginner. So let's say you put on 2.2 pound, 50 to 60% of that will be fat, 20 to 25% of that will be water weight. The water weight will be stored in your glycogen, which is stored in your muscle. Glycogen just refers to the energy stored inside your muscle, so when you work out, you're using your glycogen stores. So that is that. And as it is written here, you can build faster. You can build muscle faster. When you're an intermediate, you start to put on a bit more fat, and the water weight and the muscle slightly decreases. And that same theme is there when you are an advanced lifter. On to the next one. So before you start, you need to know how to calculate your calorie maintenance. Your maintenance is essentially how much calories do you need to eat to maintain the weight you're currently at. Because we're hard gainers, for myself personally right now, if I stop eating and stop doing anything, I just go to like 52 kilos, and even if I don't eat or do eat, my weight just stagnates there. So you might have a floor weight. So that was my floor weight, which I kind of discovered recently. So to calculate your calorie maintenance and your surplus, you're going to want to use this website called calculator.net. It's just the most universally used one. So I'm going to walk you guys through it for using myself as an example, so you guys know how to use it for yourself. So you want to go to this website. It's very simple. You want to pop your age inside. So I am currently 22. Your height, you want to pop inside there as well. So I'm about 5'6", so I believe that's 167. And then my weight right now is 56 kg. And then your activity level, you want to put inside what you are currently. I'll put myself about moderate because I go gym 3 times a week, and my work includes me basically being on my feet all day, and I do that 6 times a week. So 4 to 5 days, and 4 to 5 times a week. I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna calculate. Once you've done that, so my maintenance would be 2,200 calories roughly, and we don't have to worry about the weight loss. You just want to just do the reverse. So if I want to have extreme weight gain, I'm going to eat 1,000 calorie surplus per day. If I want minimal weight gain, you're going to do 500 calorie, which is why I have on this one here the main two that speak about 500 and 1,000. If you're a hard gainer, I honestly do suggest starting off. If you struggle really hard with the tips I give you, start off with 500, and you'll be able to expand your appetite to be able to handle 1,000 eventually. So that's honestly all there is to the calculations there. So it's very simple. So let's go back over to the slide. So that's how you're going to calculate your maintenance and your surplus. Once you found that out, write it down. And honestly, if you are trying to track, I don't suggest tracking if you find it hard to eat or you're not a person that likes to track, because you just won't track. You're just better off just consistently eating the food and sticking to the advice I'm going to give you. So that is that one done. So let's go on to the next slide. So after you find out your maintenance, you want to understand your protein requirements. So the rough estimate is you want to get at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for myself personally, because I'm 56 kg, and that in pounds I think is about 137 pounds, I need at least 137 grams of protein. So I need to eat minimum food for 137 grams of protein so that I can continue building muscle and my body is able to repair and recover well. So work that out for whatever it is for yourself. Keep that in mind. On to the next. Before anything is stated in terms of the actionable steps that you can take, you need to genuinely be committed to this and consistent, because without these two, you can eat your calorie surplus for 6 days. Let's say you've eaten 1,000 calories for 6 days on top of your maintenance, and then you don't eat very well for like your last day. 6 days is very impressive. Like, you will make progress, but you will be shunting your progress by not doing that consistently for all 7 days. You would be losing. Okay, so for myself personally, my calories down hits 3,000 per day. If the 7th day I just don't eat, 6 times this is 18,000. I've just made my 18,000 go to 15,000, and assuming my maintenance is 2,000, 6 days of 2,000 is 12,000. I'm only having a 3k surplus. The math could be roughly wrong there. Just understand that I'm trying to say, instead of this being 6,000, actually not 6,000, like anywhere between 3,000 to 6,000 surplus. Okay, I've gone off the screen there. Anywhere between 3,000 and 6,000 surplus, I'm only putting it at 3,000. So you want to be consistent. That's the only way you can see progress and measure it. So on to the first actionable step. So this is something I found out very early on when I started working at the age of 18 to 19. I started working at a retail shop and I had to be up before 5 a.m. So I used to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. And what I found out is that when you wake up this early, right, you just feel so hungry. So by the time it hits like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I am so hungry that I have to eat food. If I don't eat food, you just feel a burn in your stomach, which does not go away. And assuming that I'm going to bed, if I wake up at 4:30 and I assume I'm going to bed, I used to go to bed really late, but I'm not going to suggest that. I suggest you get to bed at least by 9 p.m. You need to understand that's giving you from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. That's giving you over, how much is that? So that's 7 plus 9, that's 16 hours. Roughly, you're having 16 hours to eat food. And if you just split that for 4 meals every 4 hours, you will easily be able to hit your calorie surplus. So assuming you're just like me and you have 3,000 calories to get in, if you divide that by 4, it's only approximately 800 calories that I need to get in. That's very doable. Very doable. So, on to the next one. For myself personally, what I found is that if I eat food, a lot of food, without working out or doing any form of exercise, my body does not take on the weight. And I would not suggest just eating in a surplus if you're not going to do exercise, because that would just end up being purely just fat and water. And I'm pretty sure nobody wants to just have fat and water weight. So, as I was saying, so when you are working out, what you're allowing is your muscles will be damaged, right? Or torn. Don't be scared. In a good way. You're tearing your muscles so that they can be repaired. And that's where the protein that you're eating comes into play. And the calorie surplus, you're allowing your body to essentially fix itself. Okay, that is shambolic, but essentially fix itself. So when you're working out, you're tearing your muscles get rebuilt, the extra calories is going to be stored as fat, which can also be used as a form of energy for your body. You can worry about the fat and getting rid of the fat when you go to cutting, but for the time being, the main focus is on putting on weight. Don't be too afraid of the fat, because it is a part of the process, and the same way you're putting on weight, you can reduce the fat later down the line while maintaining your muscle. So on to the next one. This is going to be quite controversial for some people, or some people may not be avoidable. You want to avoid caffeine. The reason you want to avoid caffeine is because this suppresses your appetite. So when you're drinking, let's say you have a coffee in the morning, you're not going to feel hungry because you've suppressed your appetite. So you want to use it appropriately. If you're going to have caffeine, use it appropriately. Have your first meal, and let's say your next meal is going to be 4 hours later. Try have that caffeine as close as you can after your first meal, so that way that suppressing effect of it will not affect you in your next meal. Ideally, you want to avoid it, but I understand some people, you have work or you just have a necessity to use caffeine. Don't be addicted to it, because if you're addicted to it, you're going to abuse the caffeine, and it's not good for your sleep, it's not good for your recovery consequently, and the list goes on. So that is the actionable step for this one. Avoid caffeine after your first meal, or after any meal. Okay, let me rephrase that. Avoid caffeine until you have your first meal. You can have caffeine after your first meal, but ideally you want to avoid having caffeine after your third meal, because assuming you're having your meals every 4 hours, that will be closer to your bedtime. Caffeine stays in your system for at least 6 hours, right? So I try to get all my caffeine in before 12 p.m. But the latest I will have my caffeine is 2 p.m. That's because I get to bed at 8 o'clock, and I do not want caffeine to affect my recovery and my sleep. If I get about 12, I feel no effect. By 2 p.m, I struggle to get to bed slightly. So that is something to keep in mind. You want to make sure your recovery is well, because that helps with you putting on weight. If you don't sleep well, you're not giving your body the chance to recover, and caffeine plays a big part in that. So does screen time and all of those things, but we can get into that in another video. On to the next step. You want to drink more water. So if you're waking up earlier, drink some water. Water is not going to suppress your appetite, and what water will do for you is it will help expand your stomach, because it's just liquid, right? Like, I've got some water right here. I just sip on it while I'm here just working or anything. Just keep drinking water. It's healthy, it's good for you. You should be drinking at least I believe it's like 2 liters of water a day. Maybe a bit more than that, I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that one. But you should be drinking at least 2 liters of water a day. By drinking more water, it helps you expand your stomach. Don't drink water straight after you finish your food too much, because you will just end up feeling a bit sick. When you have all that liquid in your water, okay, don't force water. Just drink as much as you can, sip on it throughout the day. It helps expand your stomach. On to the last step. This is something that I have been absolutely abusing since I found out that it is very easy to create healthy, tasty meals. Like my last bulk, it was not pleasant for me. I did not enjoy it because I was force feeding myself and I found it very difficult to get the food down. But right now, the way I'm bulking, I'm having 4 meals a day, and practically every meal that I have, I enjoy it. And that's because, number one, I'm creating essentially the same meals day in, day out, so it makes it a lot more palatable. Alright, give me 1 second, let me get some water, because first time doing a video like this is definitely a bit difficult in the throat. As I was saying, I have 4 meals a day, and I have basically the same thing every day. I change up the meals every now and then. So our main meals is, I have a masculine shake in the morning, which is roughly 1,200 calories. So you guys can see, I get this in while I work, or that is my breakfast essentially, because that gets me 1.2k and only leaves 2k for the rest of the day. And then I have a yogurt pot, which is basically Greek yogurt and granola, that is like pre-workout, and that's about 500 calories, right? And that's all before 12 o'clock usually. So by this point I have 1.7k. And then when I get home, I have either chicken and rice. I've been abusing chicken and rice right now, but it's not bodybuilder chicken and rice. Like, I season that shit like crazy. Honestly, just go to town on seasoning, and because you're bulking, you have the option of using any sauce you like. Now, me personally, I like using spicy meal, and it just tastes like, how do I say that? It just tastes like chicken and rice. It tastes good, but really good. Like, you can eat that basically every day. It's really clean. I like using chicken thighs because it has more fat. More fat meaning more calories, and it's good. It tastes nice. So by the time I have the chicken and rice, it's going to put me about, so depending on how much grams of chicken I'm having, I'd say roughly gives me about 800 calories, and put me about 2,500. And then I have 6 eggs. You can have anywhere between 6 to 8 eggs, but how I have these eggs is, you guys probably will not be able to stomach this at first. I wouldn't be able to stomach it at first as well. Honestly, it's not that bad, but I drink them. I honestly drink them at this point, and that has about 500 calories. So that puts me about 3,000 calories. While I'm at work, I may have a simple snack. Like, it could be nuts is a good option. Or literally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Because you are bulking, you have the slight leeway to not be as clean. I don't promote you not being clean, but you do have the option of having an odd chocolate bar or a fizzy drink. I don't recommend it. Ideally, stay as healthy as you can. Stick to nuts, fruits, and stuff of that sort. But you do have the option of being a bit dirty with your bulk. I don't suggest dirty bulking. If you dirty bulk, what will happen is you'll end up in this position here, where I ended up being, yes, definitely a lot bigger, but I had a lot more fat than I would have liked at that point, which is why I cut down. So right now I'm bulking up again, and I will end up in that position again simply because I am eating a lot of clean food, but I'm eating 1,000 calories. So as you guys saw earlier, I would say I'm still between the intermediate and beginner phase. So I will be putting on a bit more fat, so I will be bulking up. I will lose a bit of leanness, but that's fine because we will cut down, and that's the part of the process. So honestly, actionable step, repeat tasty meals. This is a summary of all the steps that we have spoken about, and I'll just run you guys through again. You want to wake up earlier, it allows you to eat more food. You want to start working out or doing any form of exercise, because when you do that, it makes you feel more hungry, and it allows your body to repair muscle that has been damaged. And when you have more muscle, there's more water being stored inside your muscle due to glycogen, which is weight gain. You want to avoid caffeine simply because What this leads to is you having a suppressed appetite, and that means you can't eat. You don't want to be able to not eat if you're trying to put on weight. Drink more water because it helps expand your stomach. And you want to have tasty meals, which you can make quickly and efficiently. I forgot to mention that, because half of the reason you don't eat your food or try to make food is because you feel like it's a difficult task to get done. Honestly, I can make a video on how to make my food if you guys really want. I make all my meals, honestly, anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes, and I have every meal technically made. Some takes me as little as 5 minutes to make. And last but not least, stay consistent, stay committed. And that's all I really have to say in this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you guys think of this style of video. If you guys want more of this, I can create more of this for you guys. It's been your boy, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Subscribe if you guys want. This is just, yeah, I'm not going to cut this out. Subscribe if you guys want. Like the video. Share it with someone if you feel like they need help on gaining weight. If you guys have any more questions to be answered, drop it down in the comment section below. If I feel like I have enough knowledge to speak about those topics that you mentioned, I will make a video on it. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you in my next video.